Hi, and welcome to the Intentional Wealth Update with Morton Brown Family Wealth. I'm Dennis Morton here with Katie Brown. Katie, how are you doing?
Hey Dennis, good. How are you?
Good. This is the anniversary edition. We are
Yes.
coming up on 5 years since founding Morton Brown Family Wealth here in Allentown, and it's exciting. You know, we just these big round numbers. They don't come around very often. It's a great chance to reflect. I'm going to talk through a little bit today about our 5 year journey. Tell you a little bit about how the firm was founded, some of the things that we did early on or didn't do early on, and then also answer some questions. Our team put together some questions that they've always had about the origin story of the firm. So, Katie, why don't you start us off? How did we kind of come together in the first place?
Yeah. So it was back in the end of 2007. I was working at a financial firm and you were transitioning from the wirehouse world to the independent world. And
Transitioning is a gentle term.
and we were fortunate enough to hire you at the firm for you to be a financial advisor. And at the time, I was not really as active in the advice space. I mean, I was absolutely doing some financial planning, but I was more kind of operations background, a lot of internal management items. So we had very different roles for a long time. Our paths didn't cross a ton within the firm.
Yeah, you were being raised in the industry from like operations, compliance, doing all those things, and it was a very unique skill set. Firms our size, that size, don't always have a person that's that dedicated to it and doing the financial planning. Meanwhile, I was out there trying to really starting from scratch and trying to build a relationship business in a town where I knew no one, which was a great idea. So then fast forward a few years, we were both owners of the firm, minority owners of the firm. So we had some management responsibilities and we kind of got our sea legs under us. And then you kind of had a career pivot, right?
Yeah. Once again, I'm so grateful for the path that I took. Is a little bit different, but the path that I took that really gave me a lot of exposure to the inner workings of the firm while always doing financial planning. And financial planning has always been my passion. I decided to take more of an active role in being lead advisor, developing business. Really, I wanted to see the front end of the business. I was very comfortable with the back end. I really wanted more participation in the front end. I wanted to be there for those very first conversations where you really get to understand what a client is seeking, the things that are of concern for them that they want to solve for, they want to work towards. And I was kind of felt like I was brought in a little bit after some of that initial discovery. So I was really excited to really move into the front end of the business. And that's when we
And
started working together more.
yeah, we run in some of the same networks and we started saying, okay, what if we focused our energy on trying to develop relationships with individuals and families? And it started working. I think what we realized was that we had very, not opposite personalities, but complementary personalities. The things that gave you energy and give you energy are different from the things that give me energy. So we had a joke last week. An opportunity for public speaking came out, and Katie said, "I'm sure Dennis already has a speech written. I'll just stand there and smile." And that's like we just feed off of different things. But I really get energy off of relationship building, off of the investment side, really portfolio management, the theory and practice of it. Whereas you really love getting granular detail on planning. You love the operations. You're a problem solver, and I'm the guy looking out over the next hill. So we don't trip on each other's feet a lot, and actually it makes for a great dynamic. So then a couple of years later, after working together for a bit, we started to be introduced to more firms nationwide. A lot of like just high level education on how some of the best firms in the country were running. And Katie knows this. I was taking copious notes the whole time. We just have notebook after notebook of just things that we were learning and saying, you know what? I think between our skill set, the ideal client that we want to serve, and some of the best practices that we're learning, there might be a business idea here.
Yeah, I think the more we spoke out loud and the more we connected with other firms and just other people throughout the community, the more excited we got about the possibility of building something new and kind of unique in this area.
I remember being on the phone with you, like right around the time we decided that we were gonna do this. Being on the phone with you one evening, saying, "All right, here's what I'm thinking," and I'm muddling through this conversation, and my wife walks in. Gina walks in with a Post-it note, just slides it in front of me, says, "Ask her to go with you." Like, stop beating around the bush. But we wish we still had that Post-it note somewhere. So I'm kind of reading off of that, and thankfully, you and your family agreed, and we were off to the races. So.
And it was funny in conversations, those early conversations with Deke. It, I think I kind of came forward a little more hesitant. I'm like, okay, this is what we're thinking. And he's like, yeah, obviously, yes, that makes sense. Go. Like
Yeah.
he was all on board 100%. I think before the words even came out of my mouth.
Yeah. That's what Gina says. You weren't allowed to do this without Katie. So I think they saw that there's that. You guys need the backstop of each other. I think a lot, as with any transition, it can't just be about like what you're leaving behind, or that I don't want to do this anymore. It has to be like a compelling vision for the future and what you're going to. And one of the things that we had been introduced to right around this time was the idea of a brand DNA exercise. If this is your business and you're going to call it XYZ, or you're going to call it Morton Brown Family Wealth, what do you represent? And we took that exercise so seriously. Remember sitting in the coffee shop, just going through and doing the homework and saying, like, this is our shot to create something in the image of our clients and do it right. And there was a lot of great output from that brand DNA exercise.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's where we came up with our vision, to be a community of clients and professionals living purposeful lives with the stewardship of wealth. And that has really served as our North Star for a lot of things. We've incorporated that all throughout the hiring process, through our team meetings, and even in client conversations. I think the work that we put up front into that DNA, and even things beyond the vision statement, strongly held beliefs, how, holding the fiduciary standard up front and foremost before anything else, and leading with optimism. I mean, there are a lot of things I think that we put down on paper and said, yes, we're going to get behind this, and this is going to help shape our firm, our culture, our services, and hopefully the enjoyment to come.
Yeah, I went back and pulled up that document, and the first word on there, truth word, just put it up in one word, was authentic. And I think that kind of came through when it came to naming the firm. And somebody, one of our teammates, asked, "What other firm names did you consider?" And we did.
Sorry.
We kissed a few frogs. To be sure, let's see. We had words like guild and forum. Slate, Peninsulum was actually, which is the state motto of Michigan, where Katie's from. That made it through a couple of rounds, but we just didn't like the Latin. We didn't. I don't know. Nothing really stuck out. And so why don't we hang our hat on Morton and Brown? And the other part was the family wealth, because there's all sorts of different monikers put on there, advisors, wealth management, or anything else. But the family wealth was really important to us, right?
Yeah. Family is very intentional. We work with families. We love the family conversation, and it's where we have intentionally put our focus. It's where we think that hopefully we bring the most amount of value to the families that we work with.
Was there anything you didn't think about and wish you did?
Not in a negative way, but I think I underappreciated some things.
Okay.
I think I underappreciated even moving to downtown Allentown.
Sure. Yeah.
I love having our office here. We toured a number of different places. We kind of went through pros and cons of being downtown, being in a more corporate park. Our previous firm was in a corporate park. There's plus and minuses to both. And we just had so many decisions to make that I think we made the location decision fairly quickly without thinking through everything. And
Right.
I think we absolutely made the right decision. I've truly enjoyed getting to know the community down here to a greater level, and just really feeling like we're a greater part of the community than I had envisioned at the time.
And I agree. And even just building out the space, I think it showed a commitment both to when we were hiring people and clients and everything else. That we're fully invested in our space and the client experience and everything else. And an office space in town was great for that. This was not a straight line, right? There were some unique challenges, and I'll let you share your story, because I still think it's an incredible story of what happened simultaneous to all of it.
Positivity comes through any type of challenge, and I think there are positive things that come through it. But it was right around the time that we had officially decided that we were going to launch the firm that I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and so that we pumped the brakes for not very long. And Dennis, I remember your reaction saying, whatever you want to do, whatever timetable. And I was like, we're going to move forward. We're going to keep doing it. I need to make sure to build in time to take care of myself throughout the process. And you and your family were incredibly supportive. It was definitely a challenging time. I think emotionally balancing everything out, especially.
Right.
It was also really nice to have this fun, exciting project that we were working
Mm.
on as we were starting to build the business. I think
Right.
the same way that I'm grateful for, it was tough to have young kids, but they ground you. You can't wallow in whatever you're thinking for yourself when you go home to a 5-year-old or an 8-year-old and they just want to play. You have to get into their world. And so I think the opportunity to be grounded in something that was energizing for me professionally and also on the family perspective just made that process actually better than I would have ever imagined that whole time. So
We're grateful for your health. 5 years, right?
5 years. Yeah.
I think back to just that season of life. So we had 4 young kids at the time, still do, and we were, I'm the only source of income at the time in the household. So to look out and say, all right, we're going to take this living that we worked really hard to build up, and my wife's been an amazing teammate in just that, in my career, and how it's all worked out. And to say now we're going to kind of cast it into the wind and hope it comes back. I think it's been incredible, just the things that have opened up to us in the time that we've been able to do this. What's your favorite opportunity?
I think even prior to starting this firm, I think we both have come from families where we had a lot of community involvement already, but I think that there's been the opportunity to meet so many more people. We've really had awesome opportunities to represent our firm and represent our industry, actually nationwide, and it's been really incredible to see that building. And that, once again, going back to our vision, that was part of our vision, to help build the community, not just for us, but for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. And I think another opportunity, and it's just starting now. So I think this is really cool. We set out some goals and some ambitions for our team, and how we're going to just make sure that as we grow, we're growing in a meaningful way and helping to serve more families. But we also wanted to have a qualitative side to that. We put in place this idea that after 5 years, everyone who's been with the firm for 5 years gets to take a 5-week mini sabbatical. And that starts this year. And it's going to be really cool to see just how the team members experience it, how they take that time, how they're able to connect with their family, travel maybe in some meaningful way, or do some things that a 1 or 2 week break never allows you to do. We get caught up, especially in finance, talking about facts and figures and dollar signs, but there's an emotional component to it. There's a quality component to it. And we want to emulate that for our clients. We model that to make sure that they know that there's a balance to be had, but you have to work for it.
Even though our business is a business of numbers, it can't just be that. It has to be the quality of life. We have to bring in that balance, not just for us, but for the whole team too. So
yeah.
I am excited to see how this rolls out.
People see you as an advisor and a business owner. They might have a certain impression about being both an advisor and a business owner.
Being an advisor and a business owner, I think they are, in some respects, distinctly different, but at the same time, I think that there are a lot of lines that cross over. It's beyond just the financial plan. You have to think about all the inner workings of how everything comes together and how that shows up for employees, how that shows up for clients, how that shows up, across the board. And having the opportunity to do both, be an advisor and a business owner, really helps to bring that whole world together. And I think that it shows up for the benefit of clients too, that they can relate to what we're going through.
There are a lot of great advisors out there, but the ability to take and align your delivery with all the things that are happening in the background, I think that's what the real creative act has been for us. And I think one of the things we've been doing the whole time is having strategic time. All those early conversations, we still do it in the same format. Sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and think big about the future and what it means for everyone involved. And that's been, I think, a great thing to kind of keep things moving and keep the momentum that started 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I think the other thing that I'm so happy that we've kept up with as well is our business coach and keeping a consistent outside voice that helps us to stay on track, helps us to set goals, helps us to be held accountable to those, but also is just that neutral party to help make sure that we are in alignment.
Right.
Because we sometimes have very different thoughts about whatever the topic may be. It might be coming at it from different angles, and sometimes we need somebody to recognize that and say, okay, well, hold on a minute, let's get you guys together. And that has been a really good experience.
Yeah. Special shout out to Steve Sandusky. He's just been a great coach for us all along. And you're right, even your advisors need advisors. We're not doing this in an echo chamber. Give a quick thanks to everyone on our team. Thanks to all of our outside team, that our CIO and coach and everyone else who's helped out. And a special thank you to our families as well for an amazing 5-year journey. So we're still optimistic for the future. Any closing thoughts, Katie, on this 5-year journey so far?
I'm looking forward to the next 5 and 10, and I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to growing through the process. There's been a ton of growth thus far, and I feel like the more you grow, the more you learn, the more you realize there's a lot more to learn.
Yeah.
So let's keep going.
Exactly. But none of this I'm done stuff yet. We've got a lot of work to do. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Thank you for a great 5 years, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thanks.